What if you and I are not separate beings, but rather perspectives inside something larger? This is really encapsulated beautifully in one of Rumi's poems titled Say I Am You by his translator Coleman Barks. Rumi never really titled his poems at that time, that was done later. Take a listen to this poem. It's a beautiful dive into non-dual, perspective shifting identity experiences. I am dust particles in sunlight. I am the round sun. To the bits of dust I say, stay. To the sun, keep moving. I am morning mist and the breathing of evening. I am wind in the top of a grove and surf on the cliff. Mast, rudder, helmsman, and keel, I am also the coral reef they founder on. I am a tree with a trained parrot in its branches, silence, thought, and voice. The musical air coming through a flute, a spark off a stone, a flickering in metal. Both candle and the moth crazy around it, rose and nightingale lost in the fragrance. I am all orders of being, the circling galaxy, the evolutionary intelligence, the lift and the falling away. What is and what is not. You who know, Jalaluddin. You the one and all, say who I am. Say I am you. I love how the I, the identity, keeps expanding. It's never lost, it's just shifting in its perspective. This reminds me of what Seth says from the Seth material when he was sharing how the more we expand our understanding, because knowledge is preliminary, of who we are, the more we're going to experience more of who we are. So our inner senses start to turn on. You know, you could say this is junk DNA getting activated, 12-strand DNA. I mean, there's all sorts of kind of like far out there language about it, but really we are expanding our psychic parameters. We are expanding our heart energy, and this openness, it's not to say we don't have discernment, but this openness allows us to experience more of who we are, which means we're going to activate our inner senses. It was from wanting to understand what the inner senses were more like that a lot of my gifts and experiences, especially in non-duality, came to me. I really wanted to understand this one particular sense called vibrational touch. It's where you're not even touching somebody, but you can experience their essence, their feeling tone. And I once became the planet. I share that in a video. You should check it out. It's on my channel. It's called something like my non-dual experience as the planet or something like that. And when we open our mind in this way, we can have experiences like this. Also, we can raise our frequency, and that also gives us the opportunity to experience. My very first non-dual experience was when I was sungazing in Mount Shasta. I was about a year into sungazing. It was in the early morning hours. Okay, so it was quite chilly. I was gazing at the sun. I was probably around the 45-minute mark at that point. And all of a sudden, I became everything around me, the trees, mostly first it was the sun. It was wild. And actually I had a falling out with someone close to me. And right after this oneness experience of being so connected, it was like I was the larger perspective. I immediately got in touch with that person to see if we could reconnect. And that was just from that really divine experience of my perspective expanding into something more than my human experience. So I really love this poem, and I love these kinds of ideas. It's not so much about becoming something else. It's just an opportunity to recognize that perhaps we are so much more, and eventually it becomes remembering. We start to remember who we are, and we start to access a lot more of our inner gifts, our inner talents, our inner senses. We become a lot more connected with others. We become much more empathic. We also become much more discerning and intuitive. And it's just a really beautiful journey. It also reminds me of in shamanism, that's actually the way a lot of shamanic practitioners train, is by stepping into the eyes or stepping into the experience of another creature. So I've done some shamanic training myself, and I find it to be very natural because it's the same experience I have in my dreams, because I often become lucid and I often switch perspective. I can often become a fly on the wall, or I can become another character. If I look into a mirror, I'm like a different version of myself. So it's really fascinating. And if we want to get a little far out, this is kind of getting into things we can't really demonstrate. There's no people to actually speak to this experience practically alive today, although we have many intuitives and insights into other probable realities in the spacious present. And that's about training as it happened in places like Atlantis, or even in older indigenous cultures that are here currently on the planet. They train through shifting perspective. It's very shamanic. Instead of learning about something, you just become something. And I'd like to even take it a step further. By extension, if all of this lands, we come here as humans so that we can embody a being that experiences something such as betrayal so that we can forgive it. Because we can read about forgiveness, we can read about things like redemption, but the only way we're really going to experience is it if we can become that one. So I really love this because this is the way spirit actually trains. You know, as humans, of course, we have to learn the information. Knowledge is preliminary. But ultimately, we have to embody it. And while this is very cosmic, non-dual kind of embodying, on a practical level, we are here to embody the best version of ourselves and to make decisions from there. And metaphysically speaking, this is the most efficient way to move through reality, is to become the embodiment of the next version of yourself. So that's the message for today. I just wanted to share this beautiful poem and a lot of these non-dual kind of experiences. If you landed on a message like this, I'm sure that there's something in this reflection that resonated for you. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Please share your beautiful energy, like, subscribe, share, all the things. And if you're interested in coaching, Akashic record readings, visionary art, you'll find that information in the description box. Thank you so much for tuning into Vibrational Sciences. We're diving into metaphysics, manifesting mysticism, and the nature of reality. See you in the next message.